Hello?
Oh, is this Kevin?
Sure is.
Hi, this is Becca, and this is Leah from Free Radicals.
Sweet.
Um,
So I'm just doing my photo booth video. Does that work? I'll just do it that way and then send it to you.
yeah, that sounds perfect.
Okay, cool.
Here. Are you all up, ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, and do you have instruments with you at all?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Because we don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but some of these questions could have musical components. So.
Okay.
All right, ready?
Sure.
Okay. Oh yeah, is there a story behind the name of your band? Because it's pretty unique.
Um, yeah, sort of. We went through a long process to pick the name. We had a list of 20 names or something like this. This was a lineup I had, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 lineups ago, so it's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
But we had this friend of ours who's this sort of surfer Buddhist type weird dude, and he always said he wanted to have this band, and he kept talking about a band that he wanted to start someday, but he didn't even play any instruments. One of the band name ideas he had was Last American Buffalo, which is sort of this Manifest Destiny kind of vibe, and we were doing Americana music, so we
Mm-hmm.
really liked the name, and we actually put it on our list. But we went to him later to kind of ask if we could use it, and he let us use the name. So that's where we got it from.
All right. So did any of you and anyone in the band have serious musical training when you were kids or young adults? Was it traumatizing or inspiring?
I was a music major, and it was, I don't know, it was kind of both. I didn't learn anything useful for the band while I was studying music at the college. Really, they don't teach you how to do songwriting. You can't. I mean, it's really hard to teach somebody how to do songwriting in a classroom format. So you're more learning discipline styles like jazz and classical and stuff, and to an extent that helped. I developed a lot more rhythm, and I sang a lot in choirs and stuff, so it helped my voice get better. But in terms of songwriting, ultimately I had to change majors and stop doing that to really get into songwriting and stuff.
Okay. Is a favorite part of one of your songs?
What's that?
Do you have a favorite part of one of your songs? Like every time you get to it, you just get really into it or something?
I think when we do Thieves live,
Mm-hmm.
probably by the second half of the first verse, it's my favorite moment usually in the show.
Oh,
I
cool.
feel like people get into that song a little easier, because maybe because of the rhythm or the melody's a little more straightforward. So if people aren't really sure about us yet, I feel like that's kind of the point where I get the best vibes. People are kind of getting into it a little bit more because the drums kind of pick up right about then in the song, and I don't know. I like playing that one live the most.
All right. Are you thinking about exploring any new genres in the future?
Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Elvis and Buddy Holly and Hank Williams and just older stuff that's really dark. And I want to kind of try to work that into the songwriting a little more. Just kind of that earlier sound mixed with some of the other stuff that we already do. But I don't know. We've been messing around with more 50s, almost like, dark Elvis-y kind of shit. And I'm excited about going further with that. The next release that we're putting out in January has a little bit of that in it, but I think probably whatever we put out after that will have more of that influence.
All right. And so we have some kind of weird questions. Do you have a favorite theme song that you could maybe play a bit for us?
I don't know any theme songs on guitar, no. I guess my favorite theme song. I really like that Black Keys song on Hung.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I like that
That's a
song
good-
a lot. There was another theme song I heard somewhere and I recognized it from a show and I can't remember what it was. Heard it just yesterday. Can't think of it.
Okay. Oh, and another weird question. Could you make a super group with musicians like past or present that you want to play with?
Oh, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
Fuck. That's hard because a lot of musicians I really look up to, I feel like I'd have a hard time sitting in a room singing with them, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
I think I'm probably more comfortable with like the guys that I'm playing with. It is kind of a super group for me. They're all more talented than I am in terms of actual musical ability. They just like my songwriting, so it sort of is a fair trade-off, I guess. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked about these guys. We just got this lineup like this year.
Oh wow. Well, you guys are sounding really good.
Thank you. We've gone through 11 lineups, and that doesn't count the drummers. That's how many lineups I've had since I moved to LA.
Wow. Oh, that's impressive.
I guess you
Well
can say
done.
that. From a certain point of view, it's impressive. You know, it's not me. I'm not like this like crazy lead singer guy. I mean, there's been points where I've like rubbed people wrong, but I think it's just, I don't know, just had bad luck, I guess.
Yeah. Incredible. Well, what about like a super group that you'd want to listen to, or most inspirational group of musicians that you could, imagine? Fantasy Music League or something.
You know, anytime those super groups have come together, it just hasn't really like sounded as good. Like the Traveling Wilburys, they have like some okay songs, but each of those artists on their own like have much better shit. I feel like maybe they just need their own elbow room, you know? And I think maybe it's too hard for those I mean, the Beatles, they hated each other by the end of it. It was probably because they all needed, they're artists and they needed to be able to kind of expand their own thing. And they got tired of having to deal with like the person that's a genius next to them, you know?
Well said. And oh yeah, what's like the best venue or like audience that you ever played for? Because we saw online that you play with like Zoe Deschanel and M. Ward.
I don't know why we got posted on that blog next to those bands. It was just this guy that wanted to rail on indie music, and for some reason he thought we were some kind of flagship for it. And so he mentioned She and Him, and then another band too, I can't remember who. And then he threw us in there, which, I mean, if he's going to rail on indie music and rail on them and then throw us in there with them, we were kind of like confused by that. We can think of a lot bigger bands like, you know, that could be compared along with them. So it was kind of like a blessing in disguise, though, because our song "I Know" ended up getting pulled from that blog post onto Hype Machine. So he was posting our song to talk about. He actually called it hokey, but because he did that, we got placed on Hype Machine.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet. We've never got.
Clearly angry at the world or something.
Yeah, he's into electro.
Oh yeah, and this is kind of a weird part of the interview. And we asked artists to think of the first word they think of when we say like a word to them. So like we'll say a word and then just name the first word that comes to mind.
Okay, this is like therapy.
Yeah, pretty much.
I've done that.
Ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Rattle.
Shake.
Shake. That's actually our next word. So what do you think of when you hear shake?
Rattle.
Okay. Pinch.
Pinch. Was that your next word too?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you serious?
What? Yes.
You had pinch after inch?
Oh, what?
Did you say inch?
Okay, we're just giving you the word inch, and you just tell us the first word that comes to mind. It's the next word.
I said pinch.
Oh, inch? It's the next word. Like, what? I think there's some serious miscommunication here. Oh, wait. Are you saying that inch is the first word that comes to your mind when you hear inch?
Are you saying INCH?
Yes.
I said pinch. PINCH.
Oh, good one. Okay. Sorry. Okay, oppression?
I'm not very good at this. I thought of suppression, which really just kind of...
Okay, you know what? You want me to forget about it? Never mind. Good enough. C performance. We'll go into the real... Just kidding. We'll go into the real questions. Oh yeah, so how did you meet your current lineup?
Okay, so I had a lineup going that was ready for... We did a Silver Lake Lounge residency 2 years ago. This was after we put out that Bohemian Blues release. And we ended up lining up a West Coast tour, and we were able to do it because we got it. A friend of ours was going to this college, Lewis and Clark, up in Portland, Oregon. A friend of ours, Jackson, really good guy, and he set us up with a show, and they were able to pay us with a budget that was sufficient to, book a whole tour around it. And he ended up lining up Dan Behar from Destroyer to headline that show, which was amazing. So we had all that getting booked and everything lined up, and then just things kind of fell apart with the lineup. Our lead guitarist got engaged and decided he didn't want to do the band thing anymore. And our drummer just kind of moved to Chicago back to his parents' place. Our bassist just quit at the same time as well. This was actually our current bassist. So he quit, they both quit, all in the same week. So I had zero lineup at that point. And I ended up getting fill-in musicians to do that tour. And then after I got back, I just started looking for... I kept the drummer that we used, and I started looking for somebody else on guitar. I ended up finding our current lead guitarist, Josh, on Craigslist. And he started playing with us, but we decided just him and I to start working on the next EP. The drummer wasn't really jiving with us, and so we just started recording at his house, and it was I feel like 4 or 5 months of trying to get these songs sounding good, recording them at his place. And finally we were getting so frustrated, he was like, okay, we got to call this guy I know, this producer, his name is Billy. And so we ended up calling this producer, Billy Moeller, current producer, and he showed him our stuff, just these demos, and he really liked it. And so he ended up working with us, and just we busted out that EP in a month. And that's the one we released late last year.
Wow.
And then we kept working with him. He kind of lined us up with other musicians. And so he actually joined the band and started playing with us as well, and then brought in a sort of a gun-for-hire drummer. And just through that process of playing shows, putting out another EP, and then another EP, so we put out 2 early this year, we ended up finding our current drummer, and then our old bassist came to, it was my birthday show at Harvard and Stone. And at the time he quit the band, he was engaged and, not really wanting to do the band thing, but things in his life had just kind of got turned upside down, and it was just the perfect timing that he came to the show, really liked it, ended up jumping back in. And so now that's the current lineup. That drummer, or that guitarist, Josh, our current drummer, Charlie, and then Victor on bass. And our producer plays with us when he can, but we also have Trevor Manier, who's a solo artist, and he also is playing with that band, The Diamond Light. he sits in with us live and is working with us as well and collaborates with us. So we have a core lineup, and then we also have Trevor, who's just kind of part of the family. And Billy produces Trevor, so there's just kind of like this big group of musicians that we kind of have access to through Billy. But fortunately, right now we don't have to pay any of our musicians. The drummer, bassist, and lead guitarist are permanent, and so that's kind of how it happened.
Wow. Okay. Well, since you've such a long road to getting to your present state, do you have any advice for a new band starting out?
Yeah. The hardest thing for me has been keeping the momentum going, especially when members change and stuff. So my advice is that if you're the songwriter, and if you're fortunate enough to be both the songwriter and the singer, make sure to just keep doing it under some capacity or another. The lineup can vary, but keep writing the songs and just keep playing as much as possible. Keep recording. Find ways to bring in temp guys to record, and continue to put out releases and book shows, even if it means having to maybe hire some guys or whatever. I mean, ultimately, you really want to get to a point where the band is your band, and you don't have to pay anyone, because that's really hard to maintain. But I think when you put too much of the sort of core in the band, if you split it up too much among everyone in terms of the responsibility of it all, it's really easy for it to kind of self-destruct, and then you're just like back at square one. So it's important to have a hierarchy, and just kind of like the ability to be self-sustaining if things change.
All right. Oh, for all of our listeners out there, are you guys currently touring, or will you be coming to Boston anytime soon?
Currently, we're not touring. If you have any listeners in LA, though, we're doing a big residency at Harvard and Stone, which is one of my favorite venues to play in LA. We're playing every Tuesday in January. We hope and plan to do touring this next year. Whether or not that means the East Coast, we're not sure, but we're hoping for that. We'll probably most definitely do West Coast and probably a Southwest spurt as well.
All right, well, we'll be here for whenever you want to come around our way.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, so how do you want to do this? Do you want to just send us the video on email, or?
Yeah, I'll just compile it or whatever and send
it
over.
Okay.
Did you guys want a song?
That would be awesome. Yes, thank you.
All right, hang on one second. Let me get my guitar.
Okay, all right, take your time. Here.
All right, cool. This one's called Circles. Took 10 minutes just to wheel it around. Full-grown sight, 3 meters off the ground. All my hope dashed in blood. What you feel is your head in the clouds, making circles as you make love. You don't love anyone.
Yeah, that was really good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, best of luck, and we'll email you the link to the article when we have it written up.
Fantastic. I'll get you guys this video.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Yep. Bye.